Don't give up. Hey. This video was going to be about something totally different, and someone reached out to me after the last video and asked me how I found a good therapist, and I realized, there's a lot that I didn't talk about in the last video, so I'm going to just try to share how to find a good therapist. But first of all, thank you, everyone, for liking and sharing and subscribing after the last video. I really appreciate it. I didn't expect so much positive feedback. I really didn't know what to expect from posting that video. I had been trying to record the video for a couple of days. It took me a while to really get into what I was trying to get into and open up and let it out. And then I just went on for 30 minutes and didn't really expect to make such a long video, but the response has been awesome. Like, I just went ahead and posted it not knowing what to expect. So thank you guys. Thank you, seriously. So, how do you find a good therapist? Sorry for the clickbaity title, but the truth is, I actually don't know. But I'm hoping that me sharing kind of my path and my journey maybe will help. Everybody's path and journey is going to be different. So the point that I want to hit at home here is not to give up. It's going to take time. Like, one of the things I didn't talk about in the last video was therapy can be very expensive, and it can be really hard to find a good therapist. The first thing I would do is check to see if your employer offers some kind of benefit that will reimburse you for therapy or something like that. Yeah, sometimes even your spouse's employer or significant other's employer will allow your significant other to use the benefit as well. The company I work for, I'm not even married, but my girlfriend can use my benefit. And it's not like using up my benefit. I still get the benefit and she gets the benefit as well. So that's really cool. Another thing you can do is, go through your health insurance or your doctor and see if they recommend somebody and see if your health insurance will cover some of that. If going through your employer and going through health insurance is not an option for you, there are some other things that you can do. There's crisis help community centers. There's national crisis help centers that you can call. There are like group therapy places that you can go that are sometimes less expensive. Also, sometimes therapists will take your income into consideration when deciding what they're going to charge you. It can take a lot of time to find a good therapist, to find a good fit, and to just get going. It's not an easy thing to do. I wish it was. I really wish it was easy. It was not easy for me, and I had some luck involved as well, I think. So you just keep going at it. For me, from the first time I started trying to find a therapist to talk to the time that I found someone that I stuck with took a year. Now, I wasn't actively looking throughout that entire year, but you're dealing with like mental health issues here. For me, it was, I booked sorry. It's I'm trying to find my train of thought here. Making that first phone call is really hard, but you've got to take the first step. Okay. Like, the first person you call probably won't be someone that you're going to stick around with, but you've got to at least try. The only way you're going to find a good person is to start looking. And that is the hardest part, is to start, but you've got to start. When I started, I looked up local therapists. I called one. I booked an appointment a month in advance. The day of the appointment came. They called and canceled on me. I called back A week later, tried to book another appointment. They didn't answer. I left a message. They never called me back, and I just didn't try again. It was so hard for me to even make the step to call someone, that when circumstances out of my control happened and the appointment got canceled, it was super easy for me to give up. And that's a problem. Yeah, that's a real problem. It doesn't need to be harder for people to find help. It needs to be easier. But finding good help can be really hard, which sucks. And that's just a part of it. But please don't give up. After that canceled appointment, uh, my, well, a year later, my employer implemented a new therapy slash mental health program through a company called Lyra. We got offered 20 free therapy sessions per year with this benefit. So I decided I wanted to start trying to use that. And with Lyra, basically, I just had to go in, put in, I'm having anxiety, I'm having panic attacks. These are the issues that I'm dealing with. And it gave me a list of therapists I could book with, some local, some not, because you could do like virtual sessions. And just the list of people, like going through their profiles and reading, what they specialize in and their degrees and that kind of stuff, was overwhelming for me. Like, I just started like trying to figure out who I should book with, and then it was too much, and I just got out of it and was like, I'll do this later. It was a couple more weeks, and then I was like, okay, I really need to find someone. Did the process again, put in my stuff, list of recommendations came up again. And instead of going through the profiles and reading everybody, I was like, I'm going to have to pick someone. I'm going to have to meet with someone to be able to figure out if they're a good fit or not anyway. So I just clicked on the top recommendation, booked an appointment. And when I tell you guys that I lucked out, like, that's kind of an understatement. Like, the person that I got ended up being someone that worked out. Like, it ended up being someone that I have continued to do therapy with to this day. And that doesn't happen for everybody. So, but even then, like, it still was like I didn't, after the first session, I mean, it wasn't amazing or anything. And even the second, third, fourth sessions weren't, like, I was still very skeptical of the whole thing. It wasn't until like 6 months to a year in that I really was like, this person is working out really well, and I'm very happy with them, and I'm happy with my growth, and I'm making progress. And it just takes time. It takes time. It takes a lot of time. And it doesn't happen overnight, but you just have to keep working at it. You have to keep prioritizing yourself and your mental health, and you'll get there. You'll get there. And I still don't feel there, if that makes sense. Like, it's an ongoing process. It's something you have to maintain and learn how to maintain and manage. You can get there. You can do it. I'm rooting for you, okay? Like, all you need sometimes is just that one person that's just rooting for you. And know that you got me, okay? You can do this. Finding a good therapist might not be the easiest thing ever, but you got to start trying. I mean, I've had even coworkers that went through the same process I did and just had one terrible therapist after another. So it can be a process of trying to find someone that's a good fit and it can help you. The first one you meet with might not be great. I would try to give people a chance, but if they're not taking you seriously, just don't go back to them. Go to find someone new. Definitely try to find someone who's licensed. There's sometimes shady people out there. The therapist I have has a lot of experience, so I couldn't tell you what it would be like to go to a therapist who's just fresh out of college. Obviously do your own research. I would be highly skeptical of any therapy service that is being advertised like it's a product. Therapy is not a product. There's lots of big companies out there right now that are advertising these therapy subscription services. Therapy is not a product, okay? Like, that's sketchy as hell. I mentioned Lyra. I believe that's a service that's only able to go through an employer, but even with that, like, Lyra was just the bridge to help me find a therapist. I book my therapist through their clinic, and then they just bill Lyra. Like, Lyra, the third party, doesn't have anything to do with our private conversations. Please always do your own research and prioritize your mental health. A lot of times it's easy to think that our problems aren't as big as others, but if we don't prioritize our own health, we can't help others. You guys are awesome. Thanks for coming back, and I will see you next week. Peace.